This is an intro. Who needs an intro? I don't need an intro. This is just a vape show. It's just a vape show. Vape show. This is an intro. Who needs an intro? I don't need an intro. This is just a vape show. It's just a vape show. Vape show.
YouTube, what is up? I'm your homeboy Josh, back at you with a look at the Hellvape Iron Maiden RDTA. Sent it over free for the purpose of this review by the manufacturer, Hellvape. And Hellvape was in a bit of a rush to go ahead and push this review out. They wanted the public to know more about this device, and I did accept a small donation to the channel in exchange for pushing it to the front of the line. It won't affect the content of my review in any way. But before we get into this offering from Hellvape, I do want to take the time to remind you that we all have a part to play in the fight against Big Pharma, Big Tobacco, the FDA, and the deeming regulations that are looming over our heads. That means if you're on social media, remember to paint the best possible image of the vape community that you can. If you're a shop or a shop owner, remember, remind your customers that they need to get in this fight if they want to keep vaping. And follow all CASA's calls to action, including those to support HR 2058 and the Cole Bishop Amendment. We all have a part to play. And it's got the same font from Maiden, back in the day. The Iron Maiden RDTA has some awesome packaging. Great color on the box, this sort of black background with this black RDTA here. This is the stainless steel version. There is a black version as well, but the packaging is the same, I guess. It's this stark black. It says RDTA at the bottom, Hellvape up at the corner, and on the side it also has this gray color with the Iron Maiden logo. And it's the same Iron Maiden logo that I grew up with, on Iron Maiden CDs and Iron Maiden posters. I mean, that's the Iron Maiden logo. That's awesome. Hopefully no one gets sued over this, just saying. The back of the box, we've got some specs, some information about the device, contents list, the usual. When you open up the flap on the box, you get some information about the device, a little diagram showing you how to fill it, and a little pull-out telling you a bit about the ceramic inner chamber. And then you fold open the box a bit more and it opens up like a giant vampire bat. What it is basically a 30mm Genesis style RTA. And these days, that kind of qualifies it as an RDTA if you ask me. Yeah, you can drip right through the top. It is nice and ample, dripping through this drip tip that's included. And it comes with another drip tip as well. This is sort of like the curvaceous drip tip. Does anyone else notice the cringy, maniacal, pervy look he gets when he talks about that drip tip? To tell you the truth, I think he's starting to have feelings that go beyond the academic with these devices. Feelings of a sexual nature toward them. Pervy. And there's sort of a straight up and down style drip tip too. I mean, it comes with an adapter for the drip tips, but I haven't felt the need to use them. I actually really like the chuffs. I like how much ample space there is to drip through here. Today at work, I was using this and I was really hating on the juice that I'd filled this thing with, so I was just dripping a new juice through the top without filling up the chamber because I was on my break, and it worked phenomenally well. In addition to this beautiful curvaceous drip tip, you also get your top cap, and when you take off the top cap, it exposes the inner ceramic chamber, basically your spitback protection here, which is still attached to the tank. Take that off and you also have your deck as well. What sets the Iron Maiden apart from a lot of the other Genesis style RDTAs that are hitting the market these days is, well, not just that it's a 30mm RDTA, but also in the way the airflow works. The airflow works very much like the velocity. Take you around the top cap here, you've got your Iron Maiden logo, and the Iron Maiden logo, the logo it's not super deep, but it's not really shallow either. It's really well machined. It's very evenly machined. It's got nice sharp corners on the engraving. It's not super deep, it's just very clean. Airflow holes are open at the sides, and there's something like 15mm by 1.5mm, something like that, I want to say. They're pretty ample. My first thought looking inside the top cap was, why doesn't this thing have a conical shape? Why does nothing have a conical shape anymore? But then I noticed there's something else going on here. It's got, yeah, that's top airflow, right? It's got top airflow going on there. Huh. Yeah, this one features top-down airflow as well. 2 airflow holes at the top of the top cap, and there's something like 1.5mm by 8mm, I want to say. And those top airflow holes are lined up exactly with the side airflow holes. So wherever you have those side airflow holes angled, the top airflow holes are going to be angled there too. So most likely, you've got both these air holes angled right at your coils. both of which, side airflow and top airflow, are fully adjustable. The side airflow adjusts sort of like the Velocity did, in that it has this sort of outer ring which you can tighten down righty-tighty to close it on up, and then loosen it on up lefty-loosey, and it opens on up and actually spins completely off the RDTA completely if you wanted to for whatever reason. And the top airflow has this sort of wheel ring kind of thing going on that you can just turn and turn and turn all the way around it, and it's not going anywhere. It's not coming off at all, but you can adjust that top airflow from the ring at the top. And the threads on everything are buttery smooth. Everything is very well machined. It's one of the first, not the only, RDTA that I've seen that has top airflow. I can't rack my brain enough to think if there's another RDTA out there that has top airflow right now. But I think it's the first Genesis style RDTA that I've seen. And I love the design of the airflow in that you can use either the side airflow or the top airflow or both of them at the same time. And in addition, you've also got this spitback control. The top of the spitback control says Hellvape across the middle, so it has that little bit of branding there. And it's got 5 airflow holes on either side of the Hellvape logo. It's also fully ceramic, so it does its best to preserve the flavor while preventing that spitback. The ceramic spitback control also houses 2 side airflow holes which line up with the side airflow holes on the top cap. Or you can cock the top cap against these inner airflow holes in the ceramic chamber a particular way and cut that 15mm wide airflow hole down to half or less. So it adds even more airflow options to an already very versatile topper. However, you are somewhat limited in how you can position the spitback control, because on the bottom of the spitback control there are these 2 little plugs that line up with 2 holes on the deck. So you can only pop it into place right here. Plops right on in there, snaps into place. It does stay in place and it works very well, but I have noticed that the O-rings do strip on it. Kind of delicate. I went through a couple of them in the process, but it does come with a good set of spares. The O-rings could be a little better on the ceramic piece here. I don't get any spitback when that thing is in there. When it isn't in there, there's a couple things about not having the spitback control in here. For one thing, the spitback control doesn't just prevent spitback from getting to your mouth, it also seems to prevent leakiness. Yeah. Whoa, did someone leave the faucet running? Seriously, what a mess. Do you see that? Yeah, leakiness. The side airflow holes are right up at the deck. Yeah, but not only that, basically the spitback protection, the plugs at the bottom of it, that's what closes up the fill port on the RDTA. So if you don't put in the spitback protection, you're leaving the fill port wide open. Unless you plug it all up with cotton, I suppose. So if you tilt it at all, it's gonna leak. So with the spitback control in, it's not leaking anymore. The thing about the ceramic piece though is that, it's got the cutouts for the side airflow, and that works great and all, but there are no cutouts that line up with the top airflow. So it works great if you're just using the side airflow. There's this one area on either side of the spitback control that doesn't have a hole, so they could have the Hellvape logo in there, I guess. Without those holes there on those 2 sides, there's no air that's getting to those coils directly from the top airflow. So when I'm using the top airflow, I take out the spitback control. Which means I really have to be careful as to how far I tilt the RDTA back when I'm taking a pull. It's not really something you can vape in bed unless you have the spitback control in. Yeah, with the spitback control in, the top airflow does really nothing except kill the flavor completely. So with the spitback control in, I will close off the top airflow completely and just leave the side airflow open. And with that, it's still a very flavorful vape. And it's very, very yummy, even with the spitback control in. It doesn't really hinder it in the least. The other thing about having the spitback control in is that it kills the function as an RDTA. You can't really drip through that anymore. And it's awesome. It's delicious with just the top airflow. That's my favorite configuration, honestly. Closing down the side airflow and just opening up the top airflow. But the other thing is that, yep, I just did it. If you close it too much, if you close the side airflow too much, it sticks. It sticks. Come on. Come on. And this is kind of sharp, so if you get it stuck, it's kind of difficult to open it back up. Yeah, I had to go off camera to open it up. I found that running water over it while you're trying to open it up, if it gets stuck, seems to help unstick it for some reason. When you're closing down the side airflow, you want to be careful not to close it too much. Over tighten it, it's hard to open back up. There's good things and bad things about that spitback control, and good things and bad things about the airflow system and its design. It's a very flavorful device, especially for a 30mm device, and the airflow options are very flexible because it's got those ginormous side airflow holes and that really flexible velocity style adjustment ring. And it's got the top airflow control, which I absolutely adore. There are definitely some opportunities to gussy that up a little bit, raise up the side walls a little bit underneath the side airflow, and change the spitback protection so that it does have that one hole that's missing on either side for the top airflow. Those are the real opportunities that I see with this device. Even with those opportunities, I really enjoy it. It's got a 22mm deck, which honestly I haven't done justice to yet. I've only got a pair of fuse Claptons in here. I mean, they're tiny in that deck. The deck just swallows them up. You've got a velocity style deck here with great wide post holes and nice thick posts as well. It's a 22mm build space here, and that's accounting for the spitback control, which is going to fit over your build as well. So you can fit some pretty chunky builds in here. Not only that, the deck is peak insulated. So what that's going to do is it's going to prevent you from getting any shorts, and it's also going to prevent the juice from basically cooking inside the chamber here. It's going to preserve the flavor of your juice when you're vaping. It's just remained beautifully white too. It hasn't discolored or anything. It's good quality materials that they are using here. Building it is about as easy as building any velocity style deck. I've thrown a few different builds in here. I started with kind of a staple tiger, but I use 4-plies instead of 2-plies like I normally do. Gotta say I don't like the 4-ply staple tiger. I like the 2-ply staple tiger a bit better. And I put some fuse Claptons in here. I tried a single coil. It doesn't have a single airflow adapter. I kind of wish it did. For a single coil build, the airflow is just too much for it, honestly. Wicking it, I tried it a couple different ways. I tried putting the cotton right on top of the deck, kind of like what I did with the avocado. It was Leak City. I tried putting the cotton down to about the middle. It worked, but the way I like it the best is the cotton just all the way down to the bottom of the tank. When the tank goes completely empty, all the juice in that cotton, I can still get something like 10, 20 hits out of it. I mean, it's pretty bottomless, honestly. I've never had an issue with getting any dry hits from it. Even plugging up the juice flow holes, even having the cotton all the way down to the bottom like this, it's worked perfectly. It's wicked perfectly. The positive post does have a tendency to wobble a little bit. Hellvape did send me an email and acknowledged some issues with the prototype models that were sent out to reviewers. They did tell me that they're aware that the positive post has an issue where it can wobble and that there is a fix for it if I just adjust the positive pin at the bottom, which is a 2-piece design of some kind. I haven't done that because I've put the build in there and it's working and I don't have much of an issue with it. It's wobbled a little bit, but it hasn't thrown off the ohms of the build and it really doesn't irk me at all. And they are fixing that problem in their retail units going forward. So they're aware of the issue, they fixed it, but they wanted to let me know. And the screws on the posts do have a tendency right now to strip. They're aware of that issue too. They fixed that problem as well. They did tell me to use the spare screws to fix it, and it worked. The spare screws worked fine. I've already fixed that problem. They fixed the problem with the posts. Those aren't issues. Aside from that, it's an 8.5 milliliter capacity. It's ginormous, but what do you expect from a 30mm device, you know? Did he say 8.5 milliliters? Holy shit, that's a big tank. It's thick glass. It's something like 2 millimeters thick. It's beefy glass, man. It's got the potential to blow some massive, massive clouds. it's pretty much a beast. My favorite configuration, closing off that side airflow pretty much completely. Not so tight that it sticks, but completely closing it off. Closing off the top airflow maybe about halfway. Yeah, bring it down south of 100 watts in that configuration, maybe something like 90 watts or so. So that last pull was 160. Just a delicious vape. It's got great flavor on this device. Great flavor. Yeah, it's a great vape. That's the Iron Maiden from Hellvape. And despite its opportunities, the ones that Hellvape has already acknowledged and is fixing, and the ones that I find mainly with the airflow configurations paired with the spitback protection, I've been using it all week. I've been using it most of last week too. I really dig this thing, man. I like 30mm devices. I never really thought I'd get into them, but I do. And what really sells this thing for me is the top airflow and the size of the tank. I mean, it's a 30mm device that takes advantage of that size. It's an 8.5 milliliter juice capacity. And the looks of it, I mean, it just looks awesome. And if you want to continue to see products like the Iron Maiden from Hellvape stay in the market and remain accessible, remember to support HR 2058 and the Cole Bishop Amendment. We all have to do our part. Till next time, I'm your homeboy Josh. Vape on, vapors.